This is part one, and as promised, look who I brought. Warren Phillips.
The moldy guy.
Health Hunter himself. By the way, Warren, tell them how they can get to our new radio show, Health Hunters.
Yeah, Health Hunters Radio, healthhuntersradio.com, and we're going to be live on iTunes. It'll take about a week or two to populate, but you just type in Health Hunters on your iTunes account and be able to download a podcast there. So healthhuntersradio.com for those of you just tuning in here. So
yeah, bringing the message.
We'll talk about mold there. It'll be a little moldy on that show.
Moldy. If you see us changing colors, there's a screen here that's going, and if you see dental stuff behind us, it's because we're in Dr. Jerry's office. As a matter of fact, many of you said, I would like to meet Dr. Jerry. I wish he were my dentist. That was just a couple shows ago.
He may pop in.
So I know, he may pop in, or I may bring you to him. He's fixing a pocket in my wife's tooth, so she's probably not too happy, but we'll check it out.
Hi, Gina.
So, all right, yeah. Well, listen, this
like
is...
and share, as always.
Like and share.
I'm the marketing guy.
Thank you
when
for
I
those
come
who
on,
do.
yeah,
exactly.
They do. They share really well. Your group. It's an amazing group.
Yeah, this is always good information. So, but I should have announced that I was coming on with Mold because we always get so many more live people, but we'll give them time. Marilee always says, give them a little time because they come on. So, but you know, this is a topic that many of you have been waiting for, frankly, and I just. You know, I've had one topic, it seems pressing over another, but mold illness affected both of us. And I'm going to say this at the top of the show. We've talked about heavy metals and other toxins, but look, once you are susceptible and affected by one neurotoxin, by the way, mold is a neurotoxin. I
saw that, Jason, by the way.
Then what happens is you become very sensitive to all. So my sensitivity, you know, I started with an overload of mercury, and then I would, or a moldy building for that matter, I'd be sick, more sick for days. So Warren, same thing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember a story, and we love telling stories. This is how people learn, right, through stories. We did an event, and I was staying in a doctor who had all his kids were sick. He was sick. I don't know if some autoimmune conditions, because Jason just asked if we could touch on mold and autoimmune.
Yeah, I will.
Big link.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was staying in his house. We knew that they couldn't find the mold, whatever, but I stayed in his house, and I was so sick after the event, I literally couldn't move. My body completely shut down, and it took me 2 to 3 days to recover, and they later found, it was, I don't want to say the name of the doctor, but black mold all through his home. His whole family was sick. He literally had to move.
I remember that.
So you know, back then I was super sensitive, but when your whole family is sick, or there's this chronic cough that your kid has, it's not going away. We're always like flipping things off, and phone calls coming through. Is that Dr. Jerry? No?
You guys are looking for me.
No.
Oh, I just wanted to let you know that we have the VCS
We're in Jerry's office, so you don't know what's going to happen. We're actually live.
Everything that you needed is right here. Yeah. So, and we'll talk about this.
Actually, I want us to talk about it while we have it here.
We'll have it there. This is a good one.
This is a great thing.
We're live. You want to say hi, Rabina? No. She doesn't want to say hi.
Anyways,
so
well, I'm going to show you a test that you can, a very simple test you can do that will help you determine if you have biotoxic illness. One of the things I said in the caption there is you have to understand, well, as soon as you say, hey, mold could be making you sick, people go, oh yeah, I have mold allergies. Okay, this is not a mold allergy. This is biotoxic illness, meaning, here's the difference. Mold produces a spore that some people can breathe in and become allergic, right, and get, you know, some inflammation, you know, whatever, allergy types of symptoms, right? Runny nose, etc. However, this is not that. The typical symptoms here are pain, sudden weight gain, can't lose weight, insomnia, anxiety. I mean, everything that we've been talking about neurotoxic illness,
fatigue,
that's sort of fatigue, massive fatigue, no doubt about it. So those are the symptoms, because here's why. So the mold produces, yes, a spore, but it produces a biotoxin on the spore. Why? Because it's protecting the spore so it doesn't get eaten, it doesn't get affected by another mold. So because mold in their little environment is very competitive.
Lots of different molds.
Yeah, so they actually have produced toxins that protect themselves.
So like Stachybotrys and different molds, just like so many different things in the environment, like different, some like it more humid than others, some like it wet. So all those different environments, molds, they literally find their niche. That's why when you have a lot of water damage, you're going to get Stachy. Stachy's everywhere, Stachybotrys, but if it's a really wet, chronically wet, the Stachy may outcompete Aspergillus, which is another.
And by the way, that's what you
They
just
do
said.
biological warfare. Is what they do. They fight each other with their biotoxins.
That's
it's
right.
Like going to
so
war.
That's why they have toxins.
You know,
competition. Now,
two
here's
different
where
armies.
Here's where it gets it. People say, well, there's mold everywhere, and it's true. However, outdoor molds, there's the competition that not one is taking over, right? There's an ecosystem. Here's the problem. When you get behind these walls, right, in mold forms, you have amplified mold is what it's called.
Yeah.
Meaning that you have one, whether it's Stachybotrys or Aspergillus. So there's about 5 really toxic types of mold that they can take over, and that's called amplified mold, and that's what gets people very, very sick.
Very sick.
Yeah, so we're trying to differentiate the difference here. This is not an allergy. This is biotoxic illness, and I'm going to tell you right now.
Sick building syndrome.
Yeah,
so this is
sick
a
building
big one to
syndrome.
share, guys, with your friends.
Yeah.
This will transform their life. So many of your friends may be suffering at work and at home, and they don't know why they're sick. And the cause, remove the cause, right? Our number one.
Yep.
They're not going to get well unless they remove the cause.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's Dr. Jerry if you want to meet Dr. Jerry. We're doing a Facebook Live on mold biotoxic illness. I said I was going to introduce you. So just a few days ago, I did something, I was talking about you, and everyone said, I would like Dr. Jerry. I want Dr. Jerry to remind us. I want to meet Dr. Jerry. Look at this. I made good on that promise, too.
So here, I actually have my brand wall behind you here.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Actually, this is what, Tuesday? Yesterday was on Dr. Oz. Look, you're getting all kinds of thumbs up and hearts, man. Yeah, so it was on. What did you talk about on Dr. Oz yesterday?
Oh, it was a fluff piece on flossing or not flossing.
Yeah, well, which actually has been in the news.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what Jerry said. I'm actually a fan of flossing. I get more food out of my upper gums. I got to get it out. I understand if you push it up, people can cause some issues.
What I said on Dr. Oz was that if you can picture the garbage on New York City side streets on a hot summer day, and the garbage truck's not picking it up, it starts to smell and the rats come out.
Yeah, right.
That's just what happens between your teeth when you're not flossing.
Honestly, you know what I always say? I prefer, if you gave me a choice, I would rather actually floss than brush. Only because I have teeth that just hold the stuff. I don't know what it is, right? It's the pockets you actually fixed, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I pull that stuff out of there. I'm like, my God, if I would have went to bed with that in there, I mean, that stuff.
You know, that's why, like, when the microbiome in the mouth gets unhealthy, the first place it starts to break down and get unhealthy, the first place we see anaerobic bacteria start to pack down the aerobic bacteria is in between the teeth.
That's awesome.
It's not on the smooth surfaces on the outside.
So you know what I'm going to do? You're set. Good. So
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you had to pick between flossing or brushing, even though brushing makes you feel better, flossing more effectively controls the formation of unhealthy plaque.
Yeah. And I like those little brushes. I get in there with those little brushes. All right, I'm going to do this. If I can get them tomorrow to do an episode on the oral microbiome. We've taught a lot about guts and why gut doesn't heal, and food allergies, etc. Well, I'm going to make them talk about it tomorrow.
Want to learn everything?
There it is.
You can learn everything in my book.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's backwards, right?
It's backwards.
Yeah.
Just read the title.
Let me put it that way.
Just read them the title. Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Is it on Amazon?
The mouth-body
It's the
connection.
mouth-body connection. It's like a Hebrew book.
It's everywhere, right?
Mouth-body.
Mouth-body connection.
You can get this book everywhere, right?
exactly.
Yeah, Barnes & Noble, Amazon,
exactly.
everywhere.
Yeah. So,
But it really tells a good story of the oral microbiome, and I get into dental dangers, toxicities. It's written for the layperson, but with a whole new scientific understanding of what's
well, I
going
mean,
on.
a lot, and I'm gonna. Hopefully, you can talk about this a little bit tomorrow. A lot of people can't fix this microbiome, their gut, because of what's going on.
That's
here.
exactly
You know what happened, and if you new viewers, I was actually in this office a little over a month ago, and around the wisdom tooth that was out, and he went down in there. I had about a 7mm pocket. He went down into the pocket with a laser to fix it, broke right through. Infection, which is a cavitation, and Jerry kept saying that I can't believe your gut's okay. I can't believe you didn't have more symptoms in your gut because I had that infection. I didn't know. I had no sign that I had an infection in there, and sure enough, there it was. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And that's why, one of the things I'm really so excited about with True Cellular Detox is the consideration of the oral component.
Yeah.
So the oral component is, like with Revitin, might as well get everything in.
Yeah. By the way,
you can do that tomorrow.
we'll do it tomorrow.
We can do it tomorrow.
But he'll talk about why
It's
actually
available on revelationhealth.com.
It is, but here's why. Yeah, it's available on my website because this is the toothpaste I use.
This is going to be in with True Cellular, the first detox program to have an oral detox component.
Yep. So it's in there with True Cellular Detox on the dental side. Why? Because that is huge, of what's going on here. This is actually a prebiotic toothpaste.
Right.
By the way, all the healthy toothpaste on the market have things that kill stuff in your mouth, the good bacteria, and creates problems. He'll talk about more about that tomorrow. Even things as simple as peppermint, I'll let him talk about that tomorrow.
So I just want to point one last thing out.
Yeah.
Right above my head over here is a blow-up of the business card I made at 6 years old to want to be a dentist.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
I did that with Scotch tape.
You never showed me
I cut my father's business card up. I used Scotch tape.
Yeah, that's
and it says "Good Dentist."
That's unbelievable. Look, he has been featured in a lot of places.
You should say the good dentist. Jerry is the good dentist.
Look at that, right.
All right, we have to get back to mold.
Go ahead, get back
we're going
to
to talk
mold.
more about this tomorrow.
There's a lot of moldy people
yeah.
on here that need some mold truth.
Yeah, so say goodbye,
All
Jerry.
right.
Oh, look, he gave you guys a thumbs up. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Very Facebookish.
So anyways, this is part one, and if I can get to Jerry on tomorrow, we'll do part two the following day. But yeah, Jerry we'll tell him. But a wealth of knowledge, great, amazing dentist. Fix me up, that's for sure.
And there's the link I threw on there. Some folks wanted to know where the. That's why I was down on my phone trying to work with you guys here. So if you're looking for a healthy dentist, now you still need to interview them, make sure that they're good, and call them. Not everyone at IAOMT.org is going to be amazing like Dr. Jerry, but there are also a lot of good dentists that you can find through that organization.
Maybe you can read that one, but I'll talk while he's reading.
Yeah, we had a couple really good things here.
That's a good idea. I like that. He pulled that up. I was like, that's cool. I never thought of that.
We just got a great testimony. For those of you that may not be able to lose weight, here's a great testimony. It's German, so you can...
She's from Germany.
Yeah, she's from Germany, so just, I don't know how to say your name in English, so I apologize for that, but I want to like your post. She says, out of the mold for many years now. So getting out of the mold exposure alone can transform your life. That's the biggest deal. So when you have these chronically sick people that are your friends and they're sick all the time, no matter what they can do, they're sick all the time. They have weight loss resistance, headaches, migraines, they can't see at night, like all these mold symptoms that we talked about. What is it? Small joint pain, just like chronic inflammation in general. And they get out of the mold exposure, everything changes, and that's what happened for her. Not cutting it in binders I can take, for many years, not cutting it in binders I can take, taking Fungerol now, and weight is just peeling off, so Fungerol, whatever, must be a product. I'm back to normal weight after 4 weeks and off the med. Oh, she's off the med, which is good. Going to Sea and Sun for more fungal meds and kicking this down as possible. Anyway, the big thing that she did where her life got turned around is removing the cause. And that's what I love. We're not going to give you supplements here. We're going to say, look, you're sick, you got to get out of there.
Yeah. That's where you start, right? And then I've talked about, this is maybe part 2 or 3, but how we bind up the biotoxin and pull it away from the liver and the biocomplex. That's part of what we're talking about here. But I had a story, and this was what really I realized, holy cow, how powerful moving out of the mold, the exposure, our number one, remove the source is. She literally could not lose weight. She was eating perfect, and I put this in the title for a reason. And she was trying everything. I mean, no one ate better, no one exercised more, and of course, nothing was working. And she literally, I kept saying, you got to get out of the house. They did mold testing. We're going to talk about that. No, it's normal. However, they kept saying every once in a while the basement would get wet. I promise you. You have a basement that every once in a while gets wet, you have a mold issue.
Or if it's damp and you have to run a dehumidifier and the bucket keeps it. Yeah, 50%.
Above 50%, you've got mold down there. So many basements are just 50%. You don't need water exposure just because the humidity is so high. So anyways,
let me give you a tip there too.
Hold on, let me finish the story. The bottom line is she left, and I mean they ended up moving out of the house. And I was telling him for years to get out of the house. And lo and behold, she lost 30 pounds. Didn't change one thing. Now, granted, she was doing the stuff that I had her on, but she was doing that because she was just keeping her life in order, but she wasn't getting all the way better because she was still in the exposure. The moment she went out, everything we had her on worked. So there's a
So it's almost like, you're in a battle and you're doing all the right things, and it may be keeping many of the arrows from penetrating your body, but if you're constantly in a fight, if you're constantly being exposed to those biotoxins, it's wearing you thin no matter what you do, no matter how much protection.
It's just like we talked about fillings, right? It's like having silver fillings in. But I'm detoxing, I'm doing all these things. It's like, no, our number one, you got to remove the sources. No matter what, these fillings will wear you down because they leach mercury every day. Living in a moldy home is going to wear you down no matter what.
And take you out.
Okay, because I have access to this test right now.
I'm going to give them one tip.
Go ahead.
Because this is a really important one, because if you can change this in your home, right? There's lots we can do on how to safely try to detox your home if there is mold. Now, if you have a basement that's damp and the dehumidifier just can't keep up, you're likely still above that 50%, especially if you live in the Northeast, the South. You might need to run 2 dehumidifiers. You might need to go on Amazon.com and buy one that's 90 liters in a bigger unit. I mean, I'm talking like this big, to really drop that humidity and stop that mold production, right? And then they go into more of a hibernating state, and they're not actively being fed, so they're not producing as many biotoxins. Now, again, if you have a moldy basement, you're still producing biotoxins. I mean, a damp basement, and if you've had a damp basement, those biotoxins still exist no matter what you do. So you have to do some things, and that would be another show discussed, because that's a whole other thing.
That is, and I think that
making your home safe.
I would love to. We're together today, but he flies out today.
I'll see you in Georgia. You're speaking.
I know, but I would love. I'm doing part 1, 2, and maybe 3. I think it'll be 3 parts. I would love to do how.
Well, we can do that. We can use
got a great
There's
idea.
a piece of software that we could do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
That we can. I can do a Facebook Live with you from my house. So
we can do that maybe Friday. Yeah. So because matter of fact, that's perfect, because I want you to show them how to make a house safe. So and that'll be part 3.
Mm-hmm. I can carry my computer around. I can show you guys what I do.
I'll show you how to make a house safe, because
some of the units
it does have to do with humidity. It does have to do with bringing fresh air in and bad air out. It's stale air, rotating air, ventilation, and all of that we've done to our homes. So it's not just about putting a filter in. Trust me, it's not so simple. So we'll show you this, and there's even things that we use to keep mold out of your HVAC system, your air conditioning system. That coil in the HVAC, big problem, especially in humid areas. This is how people get sick. They don't realize that the mold is in the HVAC system. So that's an issue. And then we're going to talk about testing homes, and I'll just throw this out there now. Most testing people, they don't detect it. There's things called mold dogs, literally, that can sniff it out better than a test. And there's a test called an ERMI, E-R-M-I, so ERMI test, that is more sensitive, where they actually are testing the dust in different places in the home. So that's those are resources that absolutely you want.
Yeah,
now,
Rachel's really excited about that, so that's going to be good.
And then,
get on that show and share it with your friends.
Yeah, no doubt. Please share this and like this, because the likes, thank you, because that makes people view this, right? It brings up the viewage. Okay, so this is called a visual contrast test. It's a simple test. It's a really good starting place. And if you're a patient of one of our doctors, that I said our doctors, because Warren coaches the doctors as well, then they have this in their office. And it literally is, it's funny, because we were doing some shooting and we were pulling up different studies about how accurate and amazing this test is for different toxins. So I'm just going to flip this around. This goes on your chin, and then you cover one eye, and you're reading these lines. We're not measuring your visual acuity, your ability to see. We're measuring your contrast, which gets very affected by toxins, especially neurotoxins. So neurotoxins attack your nerve system in your brain. The one nerve we can measure is the optic nerve, very sensitive. So when you're neurotoxic, you start to lose contrast as one of the signs that you're neurotoxic. So this test is incredible. I'm going to take it off here just so I can show you. So anyways, not to tell you the test, but there's 2 rows that really represent what we call biotoxic illness. So if you don't see to a certain level, then you fail the test, and that's an indicator. Now, one of the practitioners may choose to run another test on you if you fail this test. This last row E is just general toxicity and a better indicator of even things like heavy metal toxicity. So a really cool test.
Our True Cellular Detox doctors, which are all over the nation, you can go to True Cellular Detox, TrueCellularDetox.com, and you can find one of those offices.
Mm-hmm.
They actually run this as part of the screening test.
Yeah.
And some of the products that they use within that True Cellular Detox system, if you qualify to be a part of one of their programs, we use those True Binders, which will pull out some of those biotoxins out of you. But Dr. Pompa, you have a coaching call.
I do.
Yeah.
I have to go, but this is part one. Look, you know, I've been waiting to do this. I mean, so many of you have been asking for this because I talked about mold. So here it is. Please share it. And I purposely did it because I knew Warren and I would be together, and I wanted to bring this together. Mold literally affected both of us. Even after I got a lot of my metals out, I was still very, very sensitive, so is he, to mold. I mean, we would walk into a hotel room, we would switch rooms because we would smell the faint. Believe me, you get a nose for it. I mean, we are mold dogs.
Yeah.
Even today, I've lost a little bit of my sensitivity there, which is probably not a bad thing. But I would mold, and we just, we're out, switch rooms. And we've left hotels completely because the whole hotel was moldy. That's because we were so, you know, doing everything to get well. I was not going to take a mold hit, as we call it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it
Yeah.
because it would be days of just not sleeping, anxiety. You would get achy pain in your joints. I didn't get that.
Gut
but I'd be
issues, gut
fatigued.
inflammation, constipation.
Yeah, like all of a sudden your digestive goes. I mean, it's like now all of a sudden it's like now you're intolerant to every food again. Your microbiome just shifts, and now everything's flared up again. You're starting over. That's how bad mold is.
Yeah.
So,
and then usually it happens, and this is the last tip, if you get a mold exposure, and then you might sleep fine that night, but the next night is when you get crushed. It's like a 24-hour delay.
It takes about 2 days to where, and that's what the funny part is, because you don't think what happened 2 or 3 days ago. And it's like, oh my God, that's right. We were in that moldy restaurant. That happened to me several times. It's like you walk in, you're like, you don't want to cause a fuss because you're like, okay, everyone's going in, and you make it happen. You stay in the dang restaurant, and sure enough, 2-3 days later, you know, blown out, man. You know, everything bad happening. Here's the good news. I can go into moldy buildings, no problem now. I don't think it's healthy, okay? So I'm not boasting or bragging to do that. I'm giving you hope, meaning that I was that sensitive, and now I can stay in a moldy hotel room, and I wouldn't even get symptoms anymore. So that lies the hope. In these parts, I'll show you these things that we learned.
Yeah, it's a True Cellular Detox system. That's what people are trying to.
Yeah, no doubt. People are going to ask that. What do you do? The True Cellular Detox system. I mean, they all know what that is.
TrueCellularDetox.com, and then there's a find a practitioner up there, and then you can find one local.
Or call our website, because many of you with major challenges, you know, we go through that. And we'll
go to drpompa.com
and call, and you can talk to one of them, and we'll find you. We'll find you someone. There you go.
15 years of
part one.
demolding.
Yep.
We want to help you out. God bless, guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.